Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, investigation is still underway after a power interruption at NAIA Terminal 3 left thousands of passengers stranded. No lessons learned. Senators also expressed their dismay over yet another airport mess. And with problems consistently hounding the country's main gateway, is it high time to privatize NAIA? Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista joins us live. Chaos erupted at the NAIA Terminal 3 on Labor Day as thousands of passengers were left stranded after a nearly 8-hour power outage. Authorities point to an electrical issue that caused Terminal 3's main circuit breaker to shut down. An investigation is underway, but airport officials admit a full electrical audit is needed to avoid future power interruptions. The power outage comes exactly 4 months, once again at the tail end of a long weekend, after an electricity supply problem on New Year's Day caused NAIA's air traffic system to go offline. Let's go straight to the source of...
Hindi nag-aabiso. Walang sistema.
Abala. Perwisyo. Para kami pa yung may kasalanan dito kasi hindi nga daw makakapasok dito. Pinapapunta kami doon.
And let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista. Secretary Bautista, welcome to the source. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you, Pinky. Good morning.
Okay. It's good that you're still smiling, although that's really, yan naman ho talaga yung inyong, di ba, yung inyong itsura palagi hong very pleasant. But it wasn't really pleasant yesterday for thousands of passengers, Secretary. I just want to go to how I understood what happened yesterday. Meralco says the power interruption from 1 to almost 8 a.m. was caused by a fault current. Ibig sabihin po, nung tinatanong po yung Meralco, an irregular flow of electricity in the NAIA line, which the circuit breaker detected. So, hindi po regular yung linya ng kuryente na detect ng circuit breaker. Hence, it automatically shut down the power. Is my understanding correct, Secretary? Is this your understanding as well?
Well, yesterday I was in the airport and I had a very good discussion about it with the Meralco people early in the morning. No? And they told us that there was a fault that entered the circuit breaker of Terminal 3, and as a result of which the circuit breaker opened, which according to Meralco, the surge went into their system, and as a result of which their elbow connector was damaged. No? That's what Meralco told us. No? So it took them until 6 o'clock in the morning that they replaced the damaged elbow connector. But after that, they were able to restore regular current partially by 7 o'clock in the morning, no? And by 8:46 Meralco power was restored all throughout the Terminal 3 system. Mm-hmm. So that's what happened, and that was how it was discussed with us by Meralco.
What does it mean, Secretary? I'll be honest, I still don't quite get it. Does it mean that there was a problem with Meralco? Does it mean that there was a problem with the line? Does it mean that there was a problem with the circuit breaker? Or is that still under investigation?
Actually, there's nothing wrong with the circuit breaker. There's probably a fault that entered the circuit breaker, and that's the reason why the circuit breaker opened. No? But there will be an investigation which will be conducted by a joint committee composed of the OTR, Office of Transport Security, NAIA, NICA.
Yeah.
And this group will be joined by NBI and the Philippine National Police. No? So that we will be able to determine what is the real cause. Because there are claims that it's not a regular fault that entered the system of NAIA Terminal 3.
It's not an irregular fault that entered. What could that mean?
Well, of course, we are not discounting the possibility that there might be a sabotage. Although I hope it's not. And this is the reason why we have asked the other agencies to join us. I was able to talk to General De Leon yesterday of NICA, and he has already assigned two people with us that met with us in the afternoon. No? But aside from that, we want to know what is the real cause of the power outage or the power interruption in Terminal 3 yesterday.
And because you named a number of organizations that will investigate this, the OTR, the OTS, the MIA, the NICA, and the NBI and the PNP. When does the investigation begin, and when do you expect a full report on this, Secretary?
The first meeting of the interagency committee will be at 2 o'clock this afternoon. And hopefully they will tell us what they will do, and they will give us a timeline. So as of now, I don't have the timeline yet, but later this afternoon we will know when they expect to complete or finish the investigation.
When you found out, this happened about a little after 1 in the morning of May 1. Again, it was a long weekend. Obviously, again, possibly a nightmare for the passengers rather, and maybe for you as well, because this is similar, or the same thing, a similar incident happened during the January 1 fiasco. I mean, how did you feel, Secretary? Parang second time, almost kind of like the same situation.
Yes, no, I learned about it early in the morning around 4 o'clock when GM Cesar Chong called me. Actually, he called me around 2:30. Unfortunately, I did not give the missed call. No? But I woke up at 4 and I saw the missed call, and that's when I learned about it and called for Mr. Chong. And I found out that he was already in the airport. So immediately I joined him. So I was in the airport before 5 o'clock in the morning. So, of course, I felt very disappointed. And, of course, we don't want this to happen, because I know that with this power interruption, there will be a lot of people who will be affected. And that's the reason why immediately I joined GM Chong, so we can attend personally to the problems and address the issues.
And sadly, it was chaos at the airport, Secretary Bautista. Initially,
People were moving in the immigration center counters. No? The check-in of passengers was slow because we had some problems with the connection of the airlines on their check-in counter. But it was moving. But one of the problems is that there are areas in the airport where temperature is quite warm. So because the existing power provided by the generator is not enough to support the whole operation from Terminal 3.
Right.
This is also a problem that we have to address. We need to acquire more generators so that we can support the 100% power requirement of Terminal 3. You know, this terminal is a 25-year-old terminal. And then after completion, it was not used immediately because there was a problem. The government was able to take over operations, I think, in 2008 or 2009, after it has been completed for almost 10 years. And the plans are not all turned over, no, to the government because of the case. No? So the terminal really needs to be upgraded, and we think that this should be given first priority by the government.
I just want to quickly go back to that angle of sabotage. I know, sir, that you were asked about this during the press conference yesterday. Kasi nga ho, magkasunod na similar incident, ano po, when sabotage is brought up, what exactly does this mean? Kasi to me, sir, could be a number of things, external, internal, privatization, etc. Baka nga sabotahe sa inyo, hindi ho ba? But what exactly do you mean when you mentioned also sabotage when asked by the media yesterday?
Well, because this is the second time that it happened on a long weekend. No? And I think you cannot really discount the possibility of having somebody do it to embarrass the government, no? Or to prove that they have something that we should give in to. No? In fact, there are a lot of angles that were considered by NAIA yesterday, no? But of course I don't want to preempt them. No? So we'll just wait for the result of their investigations.
How serious initially are their theories, sir?
Well, I think some are serious, no? But I really want just them to look at it. No?
Fair enough. We'll be taking. Fair enough, sir. We'll obviously at some point hear from NAIA as well. We just need to take a very short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our source today, Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista. Secretary, I want to go back to the genset, which was also discussed yesterday. I think it was GM Chong who said that, I think it was him who said that in NAIA Terminals 1 and 2, the genset has a capacity of 100%. However, in Terminal 3, it's only 30%. So it begs the question, sir, didn't you guys know this? And didn't you think it was imperative to be able to buy additional gensets to supply 100% electricity?
Yes, Pinky, that's the plan really of MIAA, to buy in more generator sets or even to rent generator sets. No? And they are in the process of conducting an evaluation of how much more generators they will need. Because the 30% that they mentioned was based on the original capacity of Terminal 3. But Terminal 3 has expanded operations. There are more concessionaires now, and that's the reason why they will have to conduct an assessment, and that's what they are doing. No? And based on the result of the assessment, they will make a recommendation to the board on how much more generator they will purchase or they will rent. No? So it's being done now by the Manila International Airport Authority.
But wasn't it a concern, Secretary, for MIA that it was obvious that Terminal 3 was already expanding in terms of arrivals and departure? In fact, hindi ho ba the plan is to move flights around? And knowing that it only had a 30% capacity, wasn't there already something amiss or wrong there?
Well, the Manila International Airport management started working on this, I think, late this year. No? after what happened in September, no? And we're just waiting for the recommendation.
All right. Another issue that needs to be discussed with the airlines, Secretary, they get the heat for the most part when situations like this happen. But clearly a power interruption is not their fault. How does MIA intend to fix a situation wherein maybe, please correct me if I'm wrong, sir, that the airline personnel didn't really know what to say or had no idea on the progress, on how much longer the power interruption would be? Because the passengers, obviously, sa kanila po nagagalit eh.
Actually, MIAA management was coordinating with the airlines. No? In fact, one of the most affected airlines was Cebu Pacific. No? And the chief operating officer of Cebu Pacific was with us the whole morning until late afternoon. So he is very much aware of what's happening, what's the situation. We also talked to AirAsia, which is another operator in Terminal 3. And they also coordinated with us in terms of their schedule. No? We also talked to the foreign airlines. Fortunately, no foreign flight was canceled. No? There were some delays, but we were able to allow them to depart and have 100% departure reliability.
Okay. And I know this should be beyond your scope, but would there be a better way, Secretary, siguro for the passengers to be able to be notified that their flights are going to be canceled or have been canceled or will be delayed? Because there were some complaints that I had seen na sinasabi po nila wala silang nakuwang text, wala silang nakuwang email. In fact, sir, medyo mahirap po yung email. Really, could there be a better way or a better approach, a more efficient one, so that passengers are told when there is an emergency or when there is a cancellation of their flights?
Yes, we asked that yesterday from Cebu Pacific, and they told us that the moment they cancel the flight, their system will automatically inform their passengers either by email or by text about the cancellation, no? And what their options are. No? So that's how Cebu Pacific informed their passengers. So because they are the only ones affected yesterday, we asked them to see to it that the passengers are notified.
Okay.
And they said yes, they notified the passengers.
Yeah. What about, because the other problem was that the rebooking, some of them were saying that the rebooking would be 3, 4, 5, or 6 days later. Is there any talk on any financial aid or responsibility that will be given to the passengers, and who should shoulder this, if any at all?
Well, according to the airline, what they did was rebook the affected passengers on the next available flight,
right,
or on the flight that are, because there are destinations where the airline operates more frequency. No? So they allow them to take the flight on the same day but different flights. But for those who will not be accommodated on the same day, they will give priority booking for them on the next available flight. That's how the airline implemented the rebooking.
Short-term plans, Secretary, I know that you said that MIA will look into the possible gensets, how much is needed, maybe possibly even rent these. So I assume this is one of the short-term plans. What about mid and long-term plans for the airport so that something like this won't happen again?
Well, the long-term plan really is to conduct a full electrical audit of the system so that we will know how much more generator sets we will acquire. Also, long-term is to improve the existing electrical system so that we avoid a similar situation like this.
All right. And is it time to modernize NAIA? There has been an unsolicited 100 billion proposal to modernize NAIA by the six tycoons in partnership with the US-based global infrastructure partners. Secretary, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, me coming from the private sector, I would welcome this opportunity of the private sector to modernize the Manila International Airport because the private sector can be more efficient. They can implement faster reforms because they are not covered by certain government limitations. So I fully welcome the news that the private sector will operate or enter into a concession agreement with the government for the operations and maintenance of Manila International Airport.
I recall, sir, there was a similar approach or undertaking that fell through, I think, by Metro Pacific sometime in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, or around 2018. So this is almost like another round of this infusing capital to modernize the airport. But just quickly, because I want to move on to another subject, sir, the runway in NAIA, if and when the NAIA is modernized, is there still a way to expand or add runway in that compound, in that area?
Well, unfortunately, Pinky, there is no space for a second runway. So we have to be contented with the existing runway of Manila International Airport. No? It can be improved and maximize the utilization by adopting new practices and modern technology like what the other airports are doing in other countries. No? Because right now, Manila International Airport can handle only to a maximum of around 40 to 44 movements per hour. No? But there are airports in other countries with only one runway can have as much as 54 to 55 movements per hour.
I see.
So I think with the private sector doing the maintenance and operations, it can be done. No?
So with the existing runway, there could be more flights in an hour as what we are experiencing at the moment, as done in other countries. I wish we could talk about that further because I wonder why it could be done, but we're not doing it at the moment. But you said, of course, there are better practices abroad. But we need to take another short break. Very quickly, we'll talk about the issue of license cards, plates for motor vehicles and motorcycles when we come back. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. And you're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our source today, Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista. Sir, just a quick question. Would you say that the situation at the NAIA is now back to normal?
Yes, Pinky, it's back to normal as early as 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Okay. So I know that this is also very important, sir. I just want to get your thoughts on this. The license cards, the plates for motor vehicles, and motorcycles, sir. What happened here? Because looking back, didn't the DOTR submit your budget sometime in August? I believe it was for some consolidation. Again, if you submit a budget, sir, couldn't have the bidding started for an early procurement then? And what has taken so long, sir?
Yes, Pinky. The budget of DOTR LTO, being a sectoral office of DOTR, was part of the submission of the Philippine government to Congress, no? In August, no? When the executive department submitted the national expenditure program of government. So as early as August, we can already start the procurement of these materials, no? The ID cards and the license plates. And there's a budget for it.
Yeah. So, but it didn't happen, sir.
The procurement only started officially last March, no?
Right.
But LTO should have started the procurement as early as August, no?
Yeah.
But what happened was that in January, my office issued a special order informing the sectoral office that major purchases of the sectoral office of the OTR will pass through the Central Bids and Awards Committee of the OTR. So we told the sectoral offices, which are LTO, LTFRB, MRT3, and the Philippine Railway Institute, that procurement for major projects will be through the Central Bids and Awards Committee, no? Unfortunately, at that time that we issued the special order, LTO has not started the procurement of plates and licenses, no? So we requested them to submit the terms of reference when we issued that memorandum, but LTO was able to submit only the terms of reference in mid-March.
From January. Okay. So that took a while, sir. So that's one of the reasons for the no plates by June for motorcycles, I believe, and no more plates in July for motor vehicles. That caused the delay, sir.
Well,
the non-submission of the delayed submission of the TOR.
If LTO started the procurement in January, we should have the materials by now.
Right.
But the official procurement happened only in March, when LTO submitted the terms of reference to the Central Bids and Awards Committee of the OTR.
There caused the delay. Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista, sir, thank you so much for your time, and we'll continue to follow developments on this story, sir.
Thank you, Pinky.
Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.